All right, let's talk about how to lead through a sales slump when you have a sales rep or a team. So we talked about this in the refine trail in terms of if you're doing the sales yourself as the closer and the founder. This is when you have a team of any size, 1 or 10 reps. So the objective here is to learn how to lead your sales team through a slump with clarity, calm, and long-term vision, transforming uncertainty into alignment, learning, and growth. So when your sales dip and you're the leader, your reaction becomes the team's reality. Your tone, perspective, and decisions in these moments determine whether your team spirals or steadies. Slumps are inevitable. They aren't always a sign of failure. And they really are never, to be honest. They're never a sign of failure. They're just signals for leadership. So this lesson will help you lead your team through data, not emotion, keep morale high while maintaining accountability, and use slumps as training opportunities, not panic triggers. You want to strengthen the systems that prevent future dips as well, because as we all know, it may not always be the sales piece of the puzzle that's causing the challenge. So part 1, lead with calm and context. When the team isn't hitting targets, your first responsibility is emotional regulation. A leader's energy cascades. Your team doesn't need more pressure. Believe me, they're putting the pressure on themselves if they're good reps or great reps. They need perspective. You want to recenter everyone on the facts. Here's what you need to understand as the founder. When slumps happen, you're worried about the entire business. You're worried about a lot of things. These people are worried about their security. And they're also worried about, the simple fact of, is this going to be a consistent issue? And do I need to find another job? That is what kind of comes up for them, and they start to panic. So you have to recenter on stability and the facts, because these things happen, slumps happen, it's okay. So facts look like this. How does this month's numbers compare to quarterly averages? Are conversion rates down, or is lead flow inconsistent? What's within our control right now? So you want to gather data first, then communicate it calmly. Saying something like this, here's what's true. Conversions are down 10%, but lead flow dropped 15%. So we're going to focus on re-engaging our pipeline while marketing increases traffic. Okay, that is factual and calm, which is really more important than anything else here. They're not necessarily looking for a quick fix. They're looking for leadership. Facts anchor the team and emotion shakes it. So part 2, reaffirm the vision. Slumps make people zoom in on the micro to day problems. Your job is to zoom them back out. You want to remind your reps what the bigger goal is for the quarter, the year, and the mission. How this phase fits into the long-term trend line, and that dips are part of every sustainable sales curve. They just happen. So regrounding them in the company's purpose reignites intrinsic motivation and loyalty, and the antidote to short-term fear is truly what it shows up as. Because I will say this, in a lot of businesses, when dips or slumps happen, there is a lot of reactivity, and that creates such a toxic culture. So your job as the leader is to avoid that, is to lead with calm and clarity, even if you're not entirely feeling it for yourself. I can say with certainty for myself, man, we have been through some wild times in our business, but we've also been running our business for 7 years at the recording of this. And in the big picture, those little dips and slumps, I don't even remember them. In the moment, it feels like everything is crumbling, but in the long term, if you can zoom out, it's just a blip on the radar. So part 3 is coach, don't criticize. When numbers drop, feedback must get sharper, but softer. So we talked about feedback and managing your team in another lesson, which is very important to revisit. But be sure during these times that you review the data together. So you want to ask, what patterns are you noticing? Because that also gives you really helpful feedback. They can help to start diagnosing, like, I'm noticing that the leads are all more coming from cold traffic. And so they're less likely to invest. So organic isn't really picking up. And of course, you're going to know that through marketing and those sources too. But that also helps you understand and diagnose the problem. And it helps them understand and diagnose the problem as well, which gives them a sense of control. Focus on discovery quality, tone, and follow-up habits, not why aren't you closing, right? So asking that question is never going to be helpful because they're already putting the pressure on themselves. Reinforce what's working before identifying what needs refining. You're not looking for blame. You're looking for leverage points. So your follow-up, so you can say something like this, your follow-up consistency had stayed strong, but now let's focus on pacing discovery so prospects feel more understood before price. This approach keeps morale intact while still improving skill. Part 4, keep the fundamentals flowing and control the controllables. A great rep never stops creating opportunity, and a great leader never stops reinforcing the fundamentals, or as we like to say, controlling the controllables. So you want to reemphasize daily follow-ups and pipeline touchpoints, hot list management and re-engagement calls, reviewing best calls to keep confidence high, and remind the team the fastest way out of a slump is through activity and consistency, not reinvention. Part 5 is protect energy and culture at all costs. Fear spreads faster than facts. Balance accountability with humanity. So to prevent burnout and negativity, keep your call per day cap firm. So sometimes people go into mode of, let me take more calls, that'll fix it. That can also lead to burnout. So if you have, let's say, a 4 call per day cap, keep it there. Celebrate micro wins daily. So booked calls, positive client feedback, creative follow-ups, things that aren't just directly revenue related. Reinforce collaboration, not competition. When one of us wins, we all win. And check in individually. How are you feeling? Is as important as what's your pipeline look like? I would actually say this is more important. Oftentimes, it's not about the activities that people are doing. It's more about they're getting in their own head. So a healthy culture is your retention strategy during hard months. Part 6, use the slump as a strategic audit. Every dip reveals system data. So ask yourself, is this a lead flow problem or conversion problem? Are incentives aligned with outcomes? Is marketing still bringing in the right audience? Are reps following the process or improvising too early? Slumps are the best diagnostic moments you'll ever get. They expose the weak points that steady growth will hide. So there are opportunities at the end of the day. Part 7, model long-term leadership. We always want to have a long-term view. When you lead with calm confidence through uncertainty, your team learns how to do the same, and that becomes culture. Steady leaders build steady teams. Keep your eyes on the trend line, communicate with truth and optimism, and use every slump as leadership training for both you and them. So the key takeaway here is that sales slumps test systems and character. Data, discipline, and emotional intelligence, not pressure, pull teams through. You want to lead with calm, coach with clarity. Remember, clear is kind. And remind everyone that consistency, not perfection, wins over time. So your action step here is review your team's current data, not to assign any blame, but just to identify patterns, because that also helps you ground yourself in the data, not in feelings. Run a brief back to fundamentals week focused on discovery, follow-ups, and hot list re-engagement. And end each day by sharing one win with the team to maintain momentum and perspective on why we do this work and the big picture. That's not, yeah, you made a sale today. That's, whoa, look at this incredible follow-up message that you sent. Or, wow, look at this client win and they shared how much the programs impact them. So something outside of just revenue generating so we can take the pressure off a little bit. All right, I will see you in the next one.